to read you one of my favorite stories from when I was in elementary school. This book is called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. My mom used to be a reading teacher, and one of the things that I looked forward to every year at Christmas time is that we knew that one of our gifts would be a children's story. And I'm going to open up the first page here. If I can zoom in and show you. Can you read what it says right there? It says, to Julie, Jana, and Robbie. Jana and Robbie were my brother and sister. Christmas 1990. Love, Mom and Dad. So 1990, that's a long time ago. But this was one of my favorite stories when we got it, and it's still one of my favorite stories today. So I'd like to read it to you. The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. Told by A. Wolf. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I'm a wolf, Alexander T. Wolf, but you can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it is all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault that wolves can eat cute little animals like bunny and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, people would probably think you were big and bad too. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old Granty. I had a terrible sneezing cold and I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. Well, I just didn't want to walk into somebody else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old Granny's birthday. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed, achoo! And I sneezed a giant sneeze. And you know what? The whole darn straw house fell down, and right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. I think I probably would have eaten a cheeseburger too. I was feeling a little better, but I didn't have a cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much, and he had built his house out of sticks. I rang the doorbell on the stick house. Ding dong. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, go away, wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hair on my chinny chin chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed. I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a giant sneeze. Achoo! Now, you're not going to believe this, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. And when the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now, you know, Food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, and my cold was feeling a little bit better, but I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. And this guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family because he had built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in?" And do you know what that rude little porker answered? "Get out of here, Woof! Don't bother me again." Oh, talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't even give me one little cup for my dear old sweet granny's birthday cake. What a pig! I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed, oh, and I snuffed, and I sneezed again. Achoo! And the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." Not kind, Mr. Pig. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down the little pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs that I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar isn't very exciting, so they jazzed up the whole story of that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. The real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar? I think that's a great story. One of the reasons that I like about it, or one of the things that I really like about it, is that it talks about point of view. When we hear the story of the 3 little pigs, oftentimes we hear it from the pig's point of view. But this story gives us a whole different view into things when we look at it from a different point of view. I hope you like listening to my story, and I can't wait to share some more with you. Bye, guys. I miss you very much.